Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Kadibia. I'm a lecturer for biology, 001, with general biology, which has to do with the cell division principles of genesis, variations, and the hereditary. For today's installment, which is part one, we shall be talking about cell division. Then, what is cell division? Cell division is a fundamental biological process in which parent cells divide into two identical daughter cells. That is cell division. Then we talk about it is essential for growth, for development, for repairs, and for reproduction of the unicellular organisms. Okay. Now, good. We talk about the importance of cell division. Why do cells divide? Why do cells have to undergo that process of cell division? Number one, they do that for growth. If the cells do not divide, they do not grow. They need to divide for them to grow. Number two, they do that for repairs of body tissues. If the cells do not divide, the body tissues are not repaired. Okay, for the worn-out and old tissues to be repaired, the cells need to divide. Number three, a purpose for cell division is for reproduction. For the cell to be able to reproduce its kind, it has to undergo that process of cell division, basically unicellular cells or unicellular organisms. The next reason for cell division is for genetic continuity, for there to be a transmission of hereditary units or of hereditary traits from parents to offspring. There has to be cell division. When there is no cell division, you may not be able to have such transmission of hereditary traits or genetic continuity, as the case may be. Types of cell division. We're talking about the types of cell division. So basically two types of cell division we have in general biology at this stage. They are the mitotic cell division and the meiotic cell division, mitosis or meiosis. Today we're talking about mitosis. What is mitosis? Mitosis is otherwise called the somatic cell division because it occurs in the somatic cells of plants or in organisms. When you go to plants, you see the tips of the plant is where you have rapidly dividing cells. Those cells that rapidly divide are called the somatic cells. So those are the venues, sites for mitotic cell division. Okay. Now, what is mitosis? Yeah, two genetically identical daughter cells are produced from the parent cells. Okay, okay, they are called actually the diploid number of chromosomes, the diploid number of organisms. Okay, okay, diploid number of chromosomes. Those cells divide. Okay, at the end product of it, they have diploid number of chromosomes. So we're talking about the stages of mitosis. There are basically five stages of mitosis. You have the prophase, you have the metaphase, you have the anaphase, you have the telophase, and you have the cytokinesis. At the prophase, the cell is generally getting prepared to undergo the division process. The cell membrane begins to divide, the chromosome begin to condense and become visible, and the chromatids and the spindles begin to form. That's what happens at the preparation stage, which is the prophase. Now, at the metaphase, those chromosomes that have become visible now begin to drift toward the equator or the center of the cell. There they drift and they align themselves accordingly at the center of the sphere, at the center of the cell of the cell. And the third phase is the anaphase. From the center of the cell, those chromosomes will be now begin to drift towards the poles of the cell. Okay, they drift towards the poles of the cell of the nucleus. Don't forget I'm talking about the nucleus here. That is the cell. Good. That's what happens at the anaphase. Then at the telophase, those drifting chromosomes actually arrive at the poles. And when they do arrive at the poles, you find out that the cell membrane begin to reappear, the chromosome become less visible, and basically signals the end of the process. So separate and move towards the opposite pole. The telephone, yes, importantly, as I said earlier, the chromosomes decompose and become less visible. Then talk about the cytokinesis. Here, the cytoplasm divides and forming two daughter cells. Cytoplasm divides and forming two daughter cells. That marks the end of the process of mitosis. This is our first installment, the part one. In our second installment, we're going to talk about the meiosis and the process of meiosis. Thank you very much for your time.
Quiz.